Wanda from Jimmy Branch Homestead, and today I'm going to start seeds. The first ones that I'm going to start are the Celery Utah Talls. I grew celery for the last time last year and it was so exciting, so I decided to plant more this year. The brand that I'm using is from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, and these seeds are super tiny. So the celery seeds require 1/4 inch deep to be planted. And I've just made little dimples in the soil with my Sharpie marker pen. I find it's a great size to be putting my holes in the soil to be able to plant. So I use it often. Now celery seeds are very, very tiny. So I'm going to put a couple of seeds in each hole. At least a couple, but it's probably going to be more. They're so tiny. Now last year I didn't plant them early enough, or I think they would have got much higher. I'm back. So I'm just putting, probably ends up being closer to 3 or 4 seeds in each hole, and just really gently covering them. It's hard to get just a couple. Plus it helps me to make sure that some germinate. Just barely cover them. And today I'm planting 24 cells of my tray here with the celery. The remaining of the tray I'll plant with green onion, bunching onions. Even if you can't use that much celery at once, I find freeze drying is great because then I have it for cooking in soups. I've used a lot of that over the winter. We use quite a bit fresh in cooking, but I used a lot more in freeze drying. But you could dehydrate it if you don't have a freeze dryer. Okay, that was just about right what I had in my hand. Okay, so I'm going to put a marker in this end that says celery. And then when I start the onions over here, I'll put a separate marker in for that. And I'm reusing some that I had last year too. I keep my seeds in these little plastic photo holders. They're just great for that. And I actually have many of these with my different seeds and keep them in the little case. I'll try to remember to show you that sometime. Okay, so these are the carry cases that I keep all my seeds in. And you can see I have them labeled inside. Of course, I have a lot more for beans because it takes, a lot more room. So I have 3 cases, and currently 2.5 of them are full. So I still have a little bit of room right now for growth, but I find this method to be pretty easy. The only problem might be like green beans and peas. If you have a lot of big seed packets and stuff, then they wouldn't work too good in here. But if you have the smaller packets, they'll fit in there fine. Okay, onions are next. And I just use organic seed starter. Any brand will be fine, but I always look for the with coconut coir. It really helps in keeping the seeds moist to help them germinate better. And the onions that I'm using today are an organic evergreen bunching onion. Now all these seeds in these 2 packets are from last year, so I'm hoping they all come up fine. These seeds are small, but they're a lot bigger than the celery. And again, I'm going to put 2 seeds of these, if I can get a hold of it, per hole. Just to make sure that I get some. I don't plant the large onions because we just don't have enough garden space for that right now. And that's something I can get fairly cheap from the store. My little seed mat here that I got to protect from all the dirt and everything when I'm doing this kind of thing, I got from Temu. It's pretty inexpensive. So I thought it was a great idea since I always get dirt everywhere when I'm trying to do this. Be nice if all these come up. I didn't have a lot of luck with my onions last year, but I did plant them late. And it just turned really hot pretty early, and my onions just didn't do well. My carrots didn't do well until the heat cooled off a little. Again, I planted those too late. My last freeze date is typically by May 1st, May 5th, somewhere in there. I did plant some peas that was older seed outside just a few days ago. I figure if it doesn't do anything, I'm not out anything, and if it does, then I have peas nice and early. We've been having some pretty warm weather around here, much warmer than normal for our area here in south central Missouri. Okay, so I just very gently kind of tap those down in there to make sure they have good soil coverage, even though they're only 1/4 inch deep. So I'm going to go fill up my water bottle and I'll be back, and that's how I'm going to get these watered. Okay, we're just going to give it a good spritz. And I will water these in this manner for quite a while until they get up and sturdy. And then I'll kind of water them gently with a water bottle. I just get these spray bottles from the store and then write on them. And this will go under grow lights, but not a heating pad. So I did 9 4-packs of each. And it will have a dome cover on it until they pop through good. And next up, I will be planting tomatoes. And I'll bring you back for that. I'm not going to show you where I put this on the shelf right now because I'll do that at the end and show you how they're all set up with grow lights. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I will go put these on the shelf and grab the tray for the tomatoes, and I'll be back with you in a moment. Back and ready to plant the tomatoes. I'm going to plant just 4 jet stars. That's for fresh eating. We just love that tomato. They're very juicy, nice tomato. And then the other 8 will be for Amish paste. And that will be for making tomato sauce and that kind of thing, cooking. But of course you can eat them too fresh. So tomatoes are only to be planted between 1/16 and 1/4 inch. So very, very shallow. If you plant them too deep, I don't think they'll come up. I've had that problem before. And I'm going to plant 2 seeds in each pot. Now I'm using solo cups, and I've just put holes in the bottom with a, let's see if you can get closer and show you. I don't know if that'll show up on video. Anyway, there's holes in the bottom with a soldering iron. And I'm only filling the cups half full. And then as they grow, I'll add more dirt until it makes them stronger because they'll have a much stronger root system. But right now, there's probably 2 inches of dirt in here, about what there would be if I was planting them in a seed tray. But this keeps me from having to transplant them into something bigger and then transplant them into the ground. So I'd like my tomato plants to be fairly good size, I'm hoping, by the time I plant them in the ground. Okay, so I'm just putting and barely covering them, 2 in each one. And that's going to be in this first row is the jet stars. And I'm planting 2 in hopes that at least 1 will come up in each. This packet is left over from last year. They worked fine last year. And then I have these little markers. So from my direction, you'll see when I get them on the shelf. But I'm putting this in here and showing that this row is the jet stars. So I have 1 seed left. I'll just drop it in there. If I have 3 come up, I'll pull 2 out. Okay, and the next tomato is the Amish paste. Ooh, these are really tiny seeds. And I just purchased these, so these are new seeds for this year. But I'm still going to put 2 in each one because I want to make sure I get a tomato out of each cup. Again, make sure you're not planting them too deep. Hard to catch those little tiny things. Just need a couple more seeds. Didn't want a whole bunch to come out. Okay, there we go. So all the tomato seeds that I'm going to plant for now are planted. And I'll put these in here and mark them. Okay, so the blue cups I have here are for bell peppers. And we only plant the orange and the red because they're so sweet and we just like them so much more. So that's what we plant. We plant them for fresh eating. But I also freeze dry a lot. And then we use them in cooking and that kind of thing. Soups. Okay. So We like mostly the red bells. So I'm going to plant 4 of the orange and 8 of the red. And they too are only planted at 1/4 inch deep. And these are from Baker Creek. These are an heirloom seeds. And this is the orange bell. And again, I'm putting the dirt just halfway full. Same reasons. These seeds are a little bigger, easier to see. Oh, I messed up. I was planting them all with the orange. Well, darn. It'll be a surprise. Okay, these 3 I know are red. So we'll kind of move them around like that. Get so busy planting I forget. And these are the giant red bell peppers, and we saved these seeds. They're really good. And you get a lot on each pepper. Each year I say I'm going to plant less, and I don't plant too much less. Okay. So those are all planted. I'll get them marked and watered and on the shelf, and then I'll come back and show you what seeds we're going to plant next. Okay, I'm back, and the next up is our brassicas. So first I'm going to plant the broccoli in these 16 squares. I'm using this type of starter pack now, or planting tray. And then I'm going to do 8 of the Caraflex cabbage, which is a smaller cabbage, and 8 of the Primo Vantage cabbage, which is a bigger cabbage, looser leaf. And then I'm going to do 16 of the cauliflower snow crown. So this will be our brassicas for the garden, but I'm going to start them inside to make sure they don't freeze. So the broccoli is planted only at 1/16 to 1/4 inch. So again, you need to make sure that we don't plant them too deep. These are a very tiny seed as well. And I'm going to plant 2 seeds per little square here. That way I'll make sure to should get at least 1 per square. They're tiny, so it's a little hard to see. I have to do it half by fill. Put that over there. They're barely going to be covered. Just barely. Real shallow seeds. Okay. Make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do this time. Some of them are getting 3 in it. I can't help it. They're just pretty tiny. I'm trying hard to just get 2. Now these do not need a heat mat. The only thing I have so far that needs a heat mat is the tomatoes and the bell peppers. Pretty much any kind of peppers would need a heat mat. Oh, bummer, I gotta get 2 more seeds. That's gonna be fun, just getting 2. Woo! I got 3. Oops. Very good. So then we're just barely covering the seed. And then when I'm done planting this tray, I'll mist it, same as I did the others. We want the seeds to be kept damp, but not drowning. What kind of seeds do you like to plant? And when do you start yours indoors? Okay, next up is the cabbage. This is a Caraflex hybrid. And it is a smaller head of cabbage, but it is very tight head of cabbage. And we're going to plant 8 of these, so 16, 2 again in each cell to make sure. These are new seeds, so I shouldn't have any problem with them. Forgot to put little dimples in there. And if I can find enough room outside, I'll plant them all. Whatever comes up. Okay, that's all of that type of cauliflower. I mean, cabbage, sorry. Don't mean to confuse you. Okay, next up is another cabbage, is the Primo Vantage, and it's a bigger plant, a little bit looser leaf, bigger heads but looser leaf. My chickens love cabbage too, so I'm really hoping all these starts come to fruition, because I always like to plant extra for the animals. Gives them some healthy nutrition. Okay, that does it for the cabbage. And lastly is the cauliflower. And I'm using the Snow Crown hybrid. It too is, well, this one's a little bit deeper, 1/4 to 1/2 inch instead of a 1/16 to 1/4. And I'm planting 4 of the little trays of this, so that'll give me 16. Well, actually, 32 with 2 per tray. These I'll take. I'm going to be interesting trying to find where I'm going to plant them all. Okay, that does it for the cauliflower. So that will be all of our brassicas. I'm real excited to get my starts finally going. 'Tis the time of year. And I'm just really gently patting the dirt over the seeds. Okay. So again, we're gonna just water this down. I'll get it on the tray in the other room, and at the end I'll show you all the trays. So let me get this tray taken care of, and I'll get set up for the next ones. Okay, the last tray that I'm going to plant today is herbs, or get them started. And the first one is sweet basil. Oh, you have to cut the corner out on these. So I plant my herbs in big tubs, and they just do wonderful. So I'm going to start them in these little peat pots. These are 4-inch peat pots. You can get them at any garden center. Walmart sells them. I got these on my special deal if you've seen my video last week. And again, more tiny seeds. So I'm going to plant 6 peat pots of basil. They're great because I like to freeze dry them too. And like I said, I like to plant them in big drums, or big barrels. So they're planted 1/4 of an inch deep. And then just barely pat over them. It says to plant 2 to 3 seeds per pot and then thin out the weakest ones. But I'm hoping that since these are new seeds, 2 will be enough. And again, to water them, I'm just going, one. Okay, I might end up with the basil in there. I almost did it again, planted an extra row. Rosemary. And it is a perennial. I had a huge plant for a long time until we had 30 below zero and it killed it. So I was really disappointed. I had it for 3-4 years and it just grew and grew. It's hard to get to them. Okay, so this one I'm going to do 3 pots of. And I'm going to plant it in 1 barrel, or 1 big bucket. If I can get to the seeds. Oh my. Oh, these are super tiny seeds. In the past, I've always got my rosemary as starts from a nursery. Again, it's kind of hard to just get one. So hopefully I can do this. Okay. I better put these markers in so I don't forget what's where. Okay, so these are basil, so I'm going to put that in this one, and that means everything that way. And this is rosemary. Oh, I forgot to write on it. And I love to freeze dry my herbs because it keeps the fresh taste. Oh man, these are super tiny. No wonder they're only a 16th. They look like a little speck. I put 3 in each of those just to, yeah, this just barely gets in any dirt. this will be my first time growing oregano. So if you've grown it before, leave it in the comments below. Have you had good luck with it? Interested to see. Gotta mark that so I don't forget what it was. And the last thing I'm going to plant today is peppermint. And it does spread. I do know that. All of these herbs that I'm planting today are perennials, meaning they'll come back year after year. Of course, as long as they don't get a super hard froze out. And they're great for pollinators. I'm planting extra of the mint because I want a barrel or a big bucket of it for teas and such. But I'm also going to plant some in my flower garden. And you have to be careful because it does spread a lot. But I just love the smell, the fragrance of it. Slice a corner. Now, these are a white seed, but they're also very tiny. Tiny seeds today. I'm hoping this works. If you have any tips or tricks for growing herbs, leave it in the comments below. And how do you preserve, or do you preserve your herbs, or just using them for fresh cooking? I like to have them for fresh cooking and then I freeze dry. So that will be in videos later in the summer. Okay, so I'll give them a good mist and come back in a minute, but I did want to show you how I store my seeds. And so I bought this, I think at Michael's, if I remember right, and it's just like a big plastic carry case, and it holds 2, 4, 6, 8, 16 of these little picture boxes. And I just find they're great for putting seed packets in. And then I label them with my little label maker on the outside, and it just makes my life so much easier when I'm starting seeds, and I can find my seeds easier rather than digging through a big drawer or a big bag of them. Oops, I closed that. I'll have to get that in there. So that was my little trick there. I'm gonna, like I said, get these watered and domed up, and then I'll take you in and show you my... Okay, as promised, here is the setup that I have so far. So on the bottom shelf is the celery and onions on the right hand side, and the left one in the peat pots is all the herbs we just planted. On the second shelf, the red solo cups are the tomatoes, the blue ones are the bell peppers, and there's not really room for another full-size tray over here. There is if they don't have any domes on them, but not with the domes. Up here, I have my broccoli, cabbages, and cauliflower. And then I have room to put 2 more trays here. And I will be planting more stuff. Once these domes come off, there'll be another tray planted here as well. So lots more to come. But that is what we have so far. So if you're... Okay, so this is just later in the week that I planted all of my seed starts, or the first batch of seed starts, and wanted to give you an update. So the top tray here is my brassicas, broccoli, and they all came up well. The Caraflex cabbage didn't do as well as the Primo Advantage, but they are still coming up. I can see them popping through the soil. So, and then I have my Primo Advantage cabbage. Those are all up. The snow crown cauliflower, looks like those all came up. at least one per cell, and I'll have to thin those out here shortly. But they are starting to grow towards the window light, so I am going to turn these around. I've already watered them for the day. I'm really going to have to watch on watering now that the domes are off. So those are turned around, and in the middle here, my tomatoes have already come up, which kind of surprised me that they popped through quite as fast as they did. The first two rows here in the pan are Amish paste, and the third row to the left here is my Jet Stars. These are our favorite eating ones. So I've already thinned a couple that had a puny one in them and a strong one. This one, they're both not looking so good. And now I can show you, I only filled the cups half full of dirt because I'm going to go in and add dirt as they grow. And anything below the dirt line will turn into roots. So I'm really wanting to help them establish a strong root system. The ones that I'm thinning out that have two good ones in them, I may try and transplant into another cup. But surprise, they're doing really well. The bell peppers, none of them have broke through yet. So those will keep on with the dome on. And then down here is the celery and onions. None of them have popped through yet. They do have a longer germination period. And then this is my herbs. And the basil has all popped through. So barely, but they are popping through. The rosemary, none of them have germinated yet. The oregano is coming up. And the last section, which is my peppermint, none of those are up yet. So the dome will go back on this tray of seedlings until the ones that have germinated are larger and that most of them have germinated. So that's an update on the seeds. Very exciting because I just planted these a few days ago and haven't even got the video posted yet, so this will be added to that video. So if you're enjoying this kind of video, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps with the algorithm. And the best way that you can help us to grow our channel is to share our videos on your social media. Thanks so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead.